What's up, Grandmaster Igor Smirnov is here. Today we're going to analyze one of the trickiest combinations that I saw over quite a long period of time, which happened in the game of two amateur players rated 2200 rated players, well, quite an advanced level players, and in the game the player did not find the combination. So I'm curious to see if you can find it, because it's really one of the most spectacular ones I've ever saw. The game started off with the standard pawn moves, and white continued with pawn c3. It's a bit unusual, but nevertheless it makes sense. White wants to play d4, building up these beautiful pawns in the center. Anyway, playing c3 is not really recommended. If you want to deviate from the main lines instead of c3, I would certainly recommend that you play here another move, bishop c4, which is the bishop's opening, which is not the mainstream move, but a lot stronger. I've got a video about that, so check this out later if you're curious to know. Anyway, in the game instead, white played pawn c3, black developed naturally knight c6, white played d4, building up the strong center. Black played knight f6 here to attack this pawn on e4, and therefore white decided that they need to do something about this, and they decided to solve the problem by pinning the knight by playing bishop g5. Now, due to this pin, the knight cannot move and therefore cannot capture the pawn on e4. So black decided to chase the bishop away, and they played pawn h6. The bishop went back, black continued chasing the bishop away, and after bishop g3, black took here on d4. At this point, white realized that they cannot easily recapture here on d4, because if they do, they're going to lose the other pawn in the center of the board. Knight takes e4, and that doesn't look good for white. Therefore, the white player instead decided to do something else, and he found the move pawn e5, and in between move, attacking the knight, hoping that the knight is going to go now, and after that white can collect the pawn back, c takes d4. But black player started a really amazing combination. He found the move d takes c3, which is a counter blow. What's the purpose? Well, black is willing to give up this knight on f6, because if white takes it, black calculated that he can capture over here on b2, and after that the rook is captured in the corner of the board, so on the next move the pawn is gonna capture that rook. Black is kind of playing checkers here. Anyway, the pawn is gonna be promoted on the next move, so it looks like black will be winning there. Anyway, white calculated this line through and decided that he can outsmart his opponent, and he grabbed the knight anyway, saying, hey, I'm gonna win the piece, I don't care. And after black took here on b2, white played queen e2. That's the point of the white's plan. White won a piece on the previous move, and now, thanks to this double attack, they want to eliminate this pawn on b2, saying, hey, I'm just a piece up at the end of this line. And if you think that you have what it takes to become the world champion chess, then you may pause the video and try to find the right continuation for black here. In the actual game, black missed the shot, but there was a truly beautiful line for black here. So you may wish to try to find this out, but yeah, it's a hard line. Alright, let's try to figure this out together. So, if black plays the most natural move bishop e7, which is probably something that white expected, then white's plan worked out. White is gonna capture this pawn on b2, and white is a piece up. Yes, black can win this pawn, but it's just a pawn. White will cover their queen, and at the end of the line, white is a piece up, even though, yeah, black collected a bunch of pawns, but anyway, that's not the refutation. So let's take a couple moves back here and see what else black can play. Instead of the move bishop e7, black has a paradoxical move queen to e7, putting this queen under the pawn's attack, which looks like, it doesn't make any sense, but it does, because it pins the white's queen temporarily, giving black some time so that the white's queen cannot move away and capture the pawn, and the pawn has this vital tempo to grab the rook and be promoted into a new queen. Now, because the white's queen is pinned, white is going to capture here on e7, winning the queen. And there is yet another complete brilliance here. Even though at this position it looks like it's time for black to take on a1 and grab the rook and promote into a queen. And it's a decent move for black to play, but the drawback is quite obvious. White's going to capture this bishop over here on e7 with check, and so they are also going to win some material. So the most brutal move that black can play here in this position is bishop g7, another calm move. And it's a really rare position where currently white is up a queen and a minor piece, and they are defenseless. There is nothing they can do. On the next move, regardless of what white's going to do, black is going to take here on a1, winning the rook, and getting a new queen. So, I mean, it's again a really rare case where with just one move, black is gonna get kinda a queen and a rook advantage, just with one move. That's a lot of fun here. And there is nothing white can do because the pawn is defended by the bishop here. So there's nothing white can do, and if white plays any move, black is gonna execute their threat, taking there, promoting a queen, and now black has a ton of extra material, and it's time for white to resign. And if you want to learn how to think and play like a chess master, then let me invite you to join my free masterclass, The Best Way to Improve at Chess Instantly, by clicking the link on the screen. Keep crushing it, enjoy the day, and I'll talk to you soon.